Welcome everyone, I'm Matthew McBride and today I'm very excited to talk to Dinyar Irani and Dan Miles from Innova Asset Management. Dinyar Irani is the chairman, Dan Miles is the managing director, and they're both co-CIOs of Innova Asset Management, a managed accounts business that has been approved for the dealer group APL and also the self-licensed APLs. Today, I'd love to get to know them and by kicking off and asking a little bit about themselves, their history and the team.
We both started in dealer group land. Dinya's been working professionally with advisors for 25 years now. I actually grew up around them. My dad worked in advice and all his best mates were advisors. So in that time working with advisors, it became clear that a lot of the solutions that were being provided to them didn't quite fit. And there were a lot of gaps in the market in terms of transparency, efficiency of delivery. And so I guess the genesis of the Innova business came about from trying to develop solutions that weren't available at marketplace.
Because we've been so close to financial advisors for so long and we've sort of been a sounding board for them, etc., from our dealer group and advice heritage roots, we knew that there was a better way to do things. We used to run, paper model portfolios and things like that, but increasingly advisors were saying, hey, this is great, we love what you're doing, but can you actually, do it in an implemented fashion for us so that it clears up our back offices, you get to manage the risk, we trust you to do it, etc., etc. So that was really the genesis of starting Innova Asset Management. Dan and I co-founded the business in 2010. We started managing live portfolios in a managed account framework for our clients from 2011. So we now have about a 12-year track record running those traditional portfolios and almost a 6-year track record now in the Risk Defined series that we'll talk about.
It's a very robust offer. I mean, to be honest, as advisors and self-licensees, for you to understand that side of the fence, you've been in dealer group land. But then you've also got a great track record of running accounts. So it's that blending that we can speak to you about both sides of the fence. So
and we pride ourselves on being accessible. We always have spoken to advisors on a daily basis. We always will. It's part of our DNA.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to build solutions to solve problems that advisors have told us they have, as opposed to just trying to regurgitate and reproduce things that others are already doing. Actually listening to the advisors, hearing where their problem sets are, hearing where the touch points are, and try to provide better ways to deliver so that they can provide better advice to the end consumer.
APL construction and reviews should not be two-dimensional. And this is where for yourselves, you're taking an approach that is based on feedback. And this is the frustrations we face in self-licensee land, dealer land, advisor land, which is, we're screaming out for, hey, we need this, or we need help with this. And for you, you've got the team and the size to do that. And I guess it segues to the next question, which is, so tell us about the accounts and the themes.
We've got a couple of different offerings. So we've started out with your traditional style portfolios, which people would be aware of, conservative, balanced through to high growth. We launched those initially because that was the advice framework in which most advisors operated within. However, the asset allocation that's applied to them is dynamic, so that we can increase risk when we think it makes sense, we can decrease risk when we think it makes sense. But we also launched a separate suite of portfolios we call the Risk Defined portfolios, because we found advisors were going through a risk tolerance questionnaire with clients, and clients come out with a fairly fixed amount of risk and it's kind of static and it stays there. But if you put them into an asset allocation portfolio where the asset allocation is fixed, they get a variable amount of risk. And then that's the antithesis of what they've asked for. So we've launched this suite of portfolios where it's risk that is the benchmark. So we're specifically designing and allowing the asset allocation to change to meet those specific risk components.
What makes you different to the ones that rely heavily on the rock star fund manager?
Sure.
The majority of what we do is actually quantitatively based.
Yes.
The key difference between our solutions and others, look, everybody's got an opinion, right? Whether they're a fund manager, an asset consultant, whatever, everyone's got an opinion, but very few can actually back it up with evidence. The reason why we've gone down the quantitative approach is that we can test and have evidence-based decision making in the portfolio construction process. It also takes away the reliance on a key rock star fund manager because a lot of the outputs are systematic. Now, we're not pure quant in that, we're trend followers or, it's not fundamentally based. All of the quantitative modelling is based on economic fundamentals that make sense, but they're rigorously applied in terms of risk management, and so they can then be tested, back-tested, and improved upon over time. So there is not that reliance on either me or Dinyar or anyone in the team to have to run it. There's a systematic process that's generated every month that tells us what we should be doing in the portfolios. Now, we don't follow them blindly. No model is perfect. That's where expert opinion comes in, and we try and test the models and say, what might they be missing? But again, it's not reliant on one key person to be the rock star to be able to predict what's going on in the future. These are time-tested models that have now been through, 2 big drawdowns through COVID in 2022, done exceptionally well, and we've tested them out of sample as far back throughout history as we can to make sure that they're robust. So the whole concept is this idea of robust portfolio construction, irrespective of what happens in the environment, because nobody has a crystal ball and can predict the future perfectly. If we can manage risk really well, then it's more likely the client is going to stay the journey, and they're less likely to participate or partake in value destructive behaviour, like selling out at the bottom because they got sticker shock because of a negative return period that they weren't expecting.
We want to grow with our clients. I think that's the best sort of synergistic relationship businesses can have with one another.
And if I can add to that, the way the partnership works, the advisors that have really leveraged the managed accounts and leveraged the offerings that we provide, it kind of ends up being a 1 + 1 = 3. Because not only do the clients end up with a more robust portfolio solution, because we can execute on trades, we can execute on things within a client portfolio in real time, far more efficiently than a practice is able to do so. Not only is the practice become more efficient, but they're able to provide a greater level of service to the clients because a lot of that administration and because a lot of that extra workload is taken off them. It then allows the advisor to give a better experience to the end consumer. So the consumer gets a better portfolio solution, but they also get a better advice solution. And at the end of the day, we should all be trying to strive to get better answers, not just for the practices, but also for the end consumer.
I guess in conclusion for today, to meet the 2 co-CIOs who, like you said, are here to partner with the advisor, but more importantly, the client. The client's money, they trust you, they trust us. And to not see the client as a number or as an account, but as a partner in the whole process and that whole information piece is a very strong point that we can take to clients and say, here are the 2 in charge and they're here for you. And for us to even show videos like this to the clients to say, well, here's who you're investing in. Here it is, kick the tires, get to know the guys. So, Dinyar and Dan, I've been really excited to speak to you today, and it's been a great opportunity. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You too.